Welcome to my channel, Learn English with Podcast. Have you ever been in a meeting where you knew exactly what you wanted to say, but it just didn't come out right?
Oh, constantly. It's one of the most frustrating feelings, having a clear idea in your head and watching it get lost on the way out of your mouth.
Exactly. And that's our topic today. Welcome to Learn English with Podcast. I'm Jessica.
And I'm James. Today we're talking about speaking clearly at your job, how to sound confident, professional, and easy to understand at work.
So James, why do you think so many people struggle specifically with workplace English, even when their general English is pretty good?
Great question. I think workplace English has its own rules. It's not just vocabulary, it's tone, structure, and confidence all combined.
Tone, meaning the attitude or feeling behind your words. You can say the exact same sentence and sound either confident or unsure, just based on tone.
Exactly. And a lot of non-native speakers focus so much on grammar that they forget those other elements completely.
That's so true. I've met people with excellent grammar who still struggle to be taken seriously in meetings, just because of how they deliver their message.
Deliver their message, meaning how they actually present or communicate their ideas. Delivery matters just as much as content.
Let's start with something practical. What are some common situations at work where clear speaking really matters?
I'd say meetings are the big one. Sharing your opinion, disagreeing politely, or presenting an update. All of that requires clarity.
Clarity, being clear and easy to understand. Such an important word for today's topic.
Another big one is emails and messages, even though those are written, not spoken, but the same clarity principles apply.
And don't forget phone calls or video calls, where you don't have body language to help people understand you.
Exactly. On a call, your words have to do all the work because they can't see your face or your gestures.
Let's dig into meetings first, since that's probably the scariest one for most people. What's your number one tip for speaking up in meetings?
Honestly, prepare one sentence in advance. Just one. Something you're confident you can say clearly if the moment comes.
That's such smart advice. Having even one prepared sentence takes away some of the pressure of thinking on the spot.
Thinking on the spot, meaning having to respond immediately without any preparation. It's one of the scariest parts of speaking a second language.
It really is. What kind of sentence would you recommend preparing?
Something simple, like, I'd like to add something here. Or, can I share a quick thought on that?
Those are perfect because they're short, polite, and they buy you a little time to organize your full thought.
Buy you time. Such a useful expression. It means giving yourself a few extra seconds without it feeling awkward.
I also think pacing matters a lot. A lot of nervous speakers rush, and rushing actually makes you harder to understand, not easier.
Pacing, the speed at which you speak. Slowing down even slightly can completely change how clear and confident you sound.
It's counterintuitive, right? You'd think speaking fast shows confidence, but actually it's the opposite.
Counterintuitive, meaning the opposite of what you'd naturally expect. Speaking slowly and clearly almost always sounds more confident than rushing.
Let's talk about disagreeing politely, because that's such a tricky skill in any language, let alone a second one.
Oh, this is huge. So many people either stay completely silent when they disagree, or they come across as too direct and almost rude.
Come across as, meaning how you appear or are perceived by others, even if it's not your intention.
Exactly. So what's a good way to disagree without sounding harsh?
I really like the phrase, I see your point, but have we considered? It acknowledges the other person before introducing your own view.
Acknowledges, recognizes, or shows you've understood something. That little step makes such a big difference in how your disagreement lands.
Lands, meaning how it's received or felt by the listener. The exact same idea can land completely differently depending on how you phrase it.
Another good one is, that's a fair point, though I think there might be another angle worth exploring.
Another angle, a different perspective or way of looking at something. Such a respectful way to introduce a different opinion.
I think the key is starting with agreement or respect before moving into your own idea. It softens the whole exchange.
Softens. Makes something feel less harsh or aggressive. That word choice really does change the entire tone of a conversation.
Let's talk about presentations now, because that's where a lot of people freeze up completely.
Freeze up. To suddenly become unable to speak or think clearly, usually because of nerves. Such a relatable feeling.
What's your advice for someone who has to give a presentation in English and feels nervous about it?
First, practice out loud, not just in your head. There's a huge difference between thinking through your presentation and actually saying it.
Out loud, using your actual voice, not just silently in your mind. So many people skip this step and then panic during the real thing.
Second, use signposting language. That means phrases that guide your listener through your presentation, like, first I'll cover, then I'll move on to.
Signposting, such a useful term. It's like putting up signs along the road so your listener never feels lost.
Exactly. Phrases like, moving on to my next point, or to summarize what I've covered so far, keep your audience oriented.
Oriented, meaning they know exactly where they are in your presentation and what's coming next. It removes confusion.
Third tip, pause after important points. Silence isn't your enemy. It's actually a tool. It gives your message room to land.
I love that. A short pause after a key idea makes it feel more important, not less confident.
Exactly the opposite of what most nervous speakers think. Now, let's talk about something a little different. Small talk at work.
Oh, small talk. This one trips up so many learners. Quick, casual conversation before a meeting starts or in the break room.
Trips up, causes someone to make a mistake or struggle. Small talk feels simple, but it's actually a skill of its own.
What do you think makes small talk hard for English learners specifically?
I think it's the unpredictability. Unlike a presentation, you can't fully prepare for small talk. It just happens naturally and quickly.
Unpredictability, not knowing what will happen next. That's honestly true even for native speakers sometimes.
So true. My advice is to have a few flexible questions ready. Things like, how was your weekend? Or busy week so far?
Flexible questions, ones that work in almost any situation. Having a few of these ready removes a lot of the pressure.
And honestly, you don't need perfect grammar for small talk. People care way more about warmth and friendliness than perfect sentences.
Warmth, meaning friendliness and kindness in how you communicate. That's such an important reminder.
Let's shift to something really practical now, pronunciation. How important do you think clear pronunciation actually is at work?
Hugely important, but I want to be clear. Having an accent is completely fine. It's not about losing your accent, it's about being understood.
Such an important distinction. Accent is part of your identity. Clarity is just about making sure your message gets across.
Gets across, meaning successfully communicated and understood. That should always be the real goal, not sounding like a native speaker.
What are some practical ways to improve clarity without changing your natural accent?
I'd say focus on word stress. English relies heavily on stressing certain syllables, and getting that wrong can confuse listeners, even if every sound is correct.
Word stress. Emphasizing a particular part of a word more than the rest. Such an underrated part of pronunciation.
Another tip, slow down on important words, especially names, numbers, and key information. Those are the words people really need to catch clearly.
That's such good advice. If someone misses a date or a number in a meeting, that can actually cause real problems.
Exactly. And third, don't be afraid to repeat or rephrase if you sense confusion. That's not a weakness. That's good communication.
Rephrase. To say the same idea using different words. Such a useful tool when your first sentence didn't land the way you wanted.
Let's talk about something every single person deals with. Asking for clarification when you don't understand someone else.
Oh, this is so important. So many learners just nod and pretend they understood, even when they have no idea what was said.
I've done that so many times, and it almost always backfires later when you realize you missed something important.
Backfires. Has the opposite effect of what you intended, usually causing a problem. Pretending to understand definitely backfires eventually.
So what should someone say instead if they didn't catch something?
Simple phrases work best. Sorry, could you repeat that? Or, just to clarify, did you mean?
Just to clarify, such a professional, natural phrase. It doesn't sound weak at all. It sounds thoughtful and careful.
Exactly. And honestly, native speakers ask for clarification all the time too. It's completely normal, not a sign of poor English.
I think a lot of learners are afraid that asking questions makes them look less competent, when actually it's the opposite.
Competent, capable, and skilled at something. Asking good questions is actually a sign of strong communication, not weak English.
Let's talk about confidence now, because I think that's really the foundation underneath everything we've discussed.
Completely agree.
You could know every phrase we've mentioned today, but without confidence, it's hard to use them naturally.
What do you think builds confidence specifically in a workplace setting?
I think repetition is huge. The more times you speak up in meetings, even with small comments, the easier it becomes.
Repetition. Doing something again and again until it feels natural. It really is just like building any other skill.
And I think reframing mistakes helps a lot too. Instead of seeing a mistake as embarrassing, see it as proof you're actively participating.
Reframing, looking at something from a different, more helpful perspective. That shift in mindset really does change how you feel about speaking up.
Exactly. Nobody remembers your small grammar mistake in a meeting. They remember whether your point was useful.
That's such a freeing thought, honestly. People are far less focused on our mistakes than we imagine.
Let's talk about email communication for a moment, since that's such a huge part of most jobs.
Right. What makes a workplace email sound clear and professional, in your opinion?
I think being concise is key. Concise meaning short and clear, without unnecessary extra words.
So true. Long, complicated emails often confuse people more than they help, even with perfect grammar.
I always recommend starting with the main point first, then adding details after. Don't make people search for what you actually need.
That's such practical advice. Getting straight to the point respects the other person's time.
Getting straight to the point. Communicating directly without unnecessary delay. Such a valuable workplace skill.
What about tone in emails? Because without a voice or facial expression, tone can be really hard to control in writing.
Definitely. I always suggest reading your email back before sending, almost like you're hearing someone else say it out loud.
That's such a smart trick. It helps you catch anything that might sound too blunt or unclear.
Blunt. Direct in a way that can feel harsh or rude, even if that wasn't the intention. Tone really matters in written communication too.
Let's talk about video calls now, since they've become such a huge part of modern work life.
Oh, video calls bring their own challenges. Delays, background noise, people talking over each other. It's a lot to manage.
Talking over each other, speaking at the same time as someone else, which is so common on video calls because of small audio delays.
What's your advice for speaking clearly on a video call specifically?
Pause slightly longer than you normally would before speaking to avoid interrupting someone because of that delay.
That's such practical advice. Even half a second of extra pause can prevent a lot of awkward overlaps.
And I'd also say speak a little closer to your microphone and a little more slowly than in person, since audio quality isn't always perfect.
Such good points. Technology adds an extra layer of challenge, even for fluent speakers.
All right, let's move toward wrapping up. Let's do a quick recap of everything we've talked about today.
Sure. First, prepare a few simple phrases in advance for meetings, like, "I'd like to add something here."
Second, slow your pacing down. Speaking a little slower almost always makes you sound clearer and more confident.
Third, disagree politely by acknowledging the other person first, then introducing your own perspective gently.
Fourth, use signposting language in presentations, and don't be afraid of pauses. They help your message land.
Fifth, focus on word stress and slowing down on key information rather than trying to lose your natural accent.
Sixth, don't be afraid to ask for clarification. It's a sign of strong communication, not weak English.
And seventh, keep your emails concise and get straight to the point while still being warm and professional.
That's such a useful list. And honestly, every single one of these skills improves with practice, just like everything else in language learning.
Exactly. Nobody becomes a confident workplace communicator overnight, in their first language or their second.
So to everyone listening, your accent is not a weakness. Your effort to communicate clearly is what really matters.
Speak a little slower, prepare a few useful phrases, and give yourself permission to make mistakes along the way.
Keep practicing English every day, especially out loud. That's where real confidence actually builds.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes at work or anywhere else. Every attempt to speak clearly is progress, even when it's imperfect.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. We hope you walk into your next meeting feeling just a little more confident.
See you in the next podcast. Until then, speak slowly, speak clearly, and trust yourself.